and I know he does like this format. So, one down. Oh, gee, the left arm got tangled up in behind the right ear as well. Robbo's down. That was Miles.
And Alan Moran is in there as well. 3 of them as we just slide around with them on the bike.
Another one.
That's the Frenchman, Vincent Johan. He is in some trouble.
He's screaming on the ground. Look at that. That's Luke McKenzie just making sure he's okay. But, man, oh, man. Their safety is the first consideration.
Well, they're calling the race or trying to stop the race by the look of it. That's Vincent Johan there. There's no way to get around him, and officials will... Well, welcome back to Sydney, the foreshore here on the harbour on what has been a dramatic men's race and a dramatic day for the final round of the Accenture Triathlon Series. If you've just joined us, very nasty crash before the break. The Frenchman, Vincent Johan, has been taken away to hospital. The first race of this men's eliminator has had to be stopped, and it looks as though they're going to restart from the second race. Tim Bailey has the info.
Now, what's actually happened is the 15 riders that were up and in the saddle in race 1 will go through to race 2. Race 1 has been cancelled after the accident of the Frenchman, so 15 go into race 2 and we're about ready for a start.
Okay, hopefully that clears things up. So we're beginning race 2. Instead of 12, we've got the 15 who are still out on the circuit. They're just paying some attention to the officials now to make sure that they get a good, clean start away for this second race. A lot of these guys will be pretty shaken up after what they've just seen as well.
Yeah, I mean, gee, you see Miles Stewart come down, you see Peter Robertson come down, Alan Moran, and then you see a shocking crash with the Frenchman, Vincent Johan, taken off to hospital. I mean, the guys... would all, if they didn't see it, you hear it anyway, so you know there's drama back behind. And I think the officials have made the right decision here. The top 15, the guys who are left on the course, all deserve to go through. And there's a lot of youngsters in there, so well done to all the boys, and a very professional performance from the athletes, slowing down, getting themselves together. They'll be actually quite a bit fresher because they haven't had to do that 2.5K run, Steve.
Well, in the end, a great decision to stop the race too. That was safety first. Vincent Johan, the Frenchman, as we've mentioned, has been taken to hospital. We'll get a report for you on him shortly. It wasn't looking good though. Report of blood coming out of his ears, and he was screaming in enormous pain. He was conscious, so that's often a good sign, but the blood out of the ears is a worry. We will get a report when we can. Now we're back with the second race of the Eliminator, where it is carnage in the middle of there too, as always. 375-metre swim, and you don't want to be in amongst that.
No, that's the ugly spot. You tend to go up and down the one spot. You're climbing over the guy's backs, over his trunks, on his head. You're trying to get into clear water. You're getting kicked in the head. You can't see, and it's like a washing machine, as they say. But no problems here for Levi Maxwell. He led the first race, and guess what? No fluke there. He's leading the second race. Courtney Atkinson beautifully positioned, as he always seems to be. And Simon Thompson having an excellent swim. He's in a great spot, as is Craig Alexander. So we've got the 3 guys who've been running the best in the series, all well positioned. That's Courtney Atkinson, Simon Thompson and Craig Alexander, along with Bryce Quirk and Peter Robertson. They have all been running very, very well.
So in that first race, we saw the swim leg. They completed about 7 laps of the bike and didn't get to run. Does that advantage anyone in your opinion?
I don't think. I think because it was a big group together, they won't have too much trouble. I think the people that will advantage are the ones who maybe aren't as strong a runners, because the run takes more out of them than the accomplished runners. So I think for those guys, maybe guys like Levi, who doesn't normally figure in the top few in the run, it'll certainly advantage him because he'll be fresher for that second race.
Well, he had a good lead in that first race before it was stopped. This is Courtney Atkinson, the current series leader, who's looking for a win today. He just has to beat Simon Thompson home to make sure he wins the series. That'll make him a 3-time series champion, and ironically though, not on the Olympic team.
No, look, it's disappointing for Courtney. I'm sure the selectors really had to toss up who was going to get that third spot. It was a three-way battle between Peter Robertson, Courtney Atkinson and, of course, Craig Walton. So it was a tough job. Look, Robbo, you can't say he didn't deserve the spot, even though he didn't really perform. We had discretionary position, and his performances internationally in the last 4 years have been just so outstanding. He has had the strongest performance of any other Australian, man or woman, over the last 4 years.
And apparently the logic being that Courtney Atkinson was up there, certainly in a position to win one of those Olympic races. just wasn't able to do it under the pressure of the day. So they were a bit concerned about how he may go in Athens compared to someone like Peter Robinson.
Well, we'll only see, mate. Time will tell, and the selectors did a great job, in my view, under tough circumstances. We're looking now. Levi Maxwell in a good position. All the athletes coming out together. Courtney Atkinson was out in second. Simon Thompson well positioned there. Right behind him, you had Craig Alexander in a good spot. Here we are now. Oh, that's our last swimmer. I think that's Leon Griffin out of the water and making it even tougher for himself. That was ugly. Everybody's fallen over today, Steve. What's going on? Maybe Tim Bailey can tell us.
Levi Maxwell and Courtney Atkinson. 1-2 like they were in race 2. Courtney goes past. We'll stick with him. We'll watch what a transition looks like. A good, cool transition. Smooth, calm, and away he goes. Alien and Atkinson out together.
Was a good transition for the boys too as they slide around that left-hand bend and get ready to get on the bikes. They've just got to get their feet into the pedals now. Atkinson not really worrying about doing it too quickly. In fact, neither of these two athletes are doing it straight up.
No, indeed. And behind them, Simon Thompson, he's in a great spot. And I think he's got on already. Simon Thompson, tremendous transition. He's up there with Courtney and Levi. Look at that. Hands off the handlebars. Don't try that at home, ladies and gentlemen, because I can assure you, you too might kiss the bitumen very quickly. You need to be very experienced to do it while he puts the sunglasses on. Blasé, Tomo. Well done.
Cool as you like. Simon Thompson, he has bolted onto the scene of triathlon this year as well. The 26-year-old from Canberra. Not many people, apart from those very close to triathlon, knew much about him before this season. Well, now he was the first Olympian, and he won that first Olympic race. And you know what? He won the second Olympic race as well, just to prove it was no fluke. And he's up there in this particular race again today. Levi Maxwell up there, Courtney Atkinson with him as well as we look back at the chase group. And there is number 11. That's Luke McKenzie coming around the corner. Luke McKenzie was the one who was right behind Vincent Johan in that ugly crash we saw just a little while ago, and it wasn't a good spot for him to be.
No, the right spot to be is where Levi Maxwell, Courtney Atkinson and Simon Thompson are, or where Tim Bailey is.
Maxwell doing exactly what he did in race 1, taking it out. Courtney Atkinson, he loves it short and sharp, and Tomo on his wheel. Between them, maybe the series.
That's exactly the situation. The series is on the line. There's the two competing for it. Only 3 points between them in the series. If Tomo can win this, he will take out the series. If Courtney Atkinson wins it, well, the series is him, and he's the defending champion, and he loves these shorter courses. I'd be backing Courtney at this stage, but Tomo's right up there.
Oh, you've jumped horses midstream, Steve. I thought you were on Robbo. He's gone, so now Courtney's your favourite. Well, I've tipped Courtney from the start, so I think he is the man to beat today in this format.
Yeah, just in the shorter races. There's no doubt Simon Thompson has proven himself over the Olympic distance, which is much longer. This short, sharper stuff, it is Courtney Atkinson's domain.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's a master at this race. And while we're at it, I want to congratulate the young guys who've really made this series. Guys like Dave Dello, Leon Griffin, Tim Makowitz, Josh Ricks and Craig McKenzie. We'll be back with more action after the break.
You're back with us, the final round of the Accenture Triathlon Series from Sydney, and it's a group of 4 that leads out this vital stage, the bike leg, the Nivea bike leg, in this second race of the eliminator format. Simon Thompson leads that group. Now, Craig Alexander's just jumped to the front of that pack. Levi Maxwell in number 7 is in 3rd position, and that in the yellow leader's jersey. Coming around the roundabout is Courtney Atkinson, the current series champion.
Well, incredibly, Craig Alexander, for those in triathlon would know, he competed at the Australian Long Course Championships last weekend, won the race on a very difficult course and a long race, and here he is now back doing a short sprint race in the Accenture Series and leading it.
He's in good form, isn't he, Craig Alexander? He's had a pretty good series, been right up there in just about every race. And there he is leading that group of 4 now. As I mentioned, Simon Thompson, he's off to the Olympics later on this year. Unbelievable before the series started. He's away. Levi Maxwell and Courtney Atkinson, who many probably would have tipped to be in the Olympic team.
Yes, indeed. And he really has been so close and yet so far. I got a feel for Courtney because he's dominated the series the last few years. He has been the man who has performed in Australia, and yet circumstances dictated he just didn't quite do it when it mattered most. But he's certainly there, and I hope he can go on for another 4 years and maybe get it next time.
Well, he's certainly young enough, 23, 24, so there's plenty of time for him. But 4 years is a long time to wait for your dream, isn't it?
Yes, it is a long time in anyone's language. In fact, a week's a long time in athletics or athletic pursuits like triathlon. So Craig Alexander leads them around. Behind him, Levi Maxwell. Then you've got Simon Thompson, and he's playing cat and mouse with Courtney Atkinson. The chase group 7 riders in all. Leon Griffin leads Bryce Quirk, Richie Cunningham, Tim Makowitz, Matt Murphy's there, Luke McKenzie and Nathan Campbell at the back. Young Nathan having a great series, 13th overall.
And the final 3 as they come around that turn and they head back down Macquarie Street. We're back up with the leaders. It's a group of 4. Craig Alexander, Simon Thompson's in there, Levi Maxwell and the series leader Courtney Atkinson.
Here come our leaders, and we have got there Crowe, Tomo, the Alien and our short course specialist, Courtney Atkinson. Great racing, and what a view. The Essentia and you.
Just popping up everywhere, Tim Bailey, right down amongst the action. Good crowd has gathered here on the Sydney Harbour foreshore at the Opera House. Is there a better place to watch triathlon on this? And is there a better format for the spectators too? This short, sharp stuff is it means they're seeing the athletes quite often, and they're coming around on a regular, ongoing basis.
Well, congratulations to Triathlon Australia and the organising committee. You know that these multi-lap formats have made the sport far more spectator-friendly, and that's why we're getting so many people come out, Steve. And I can tell you, it is stinking hot right now, really, really heated up. It is humid, the sun's out and real hot, so the guys will need to hydrate, need to really watch that they take in the fluids, Powerade or whatever they have on their bike with their bidon, because it is going to be real hot and fast on the run.
Okay, let's think about some of the tactics for these riders. You can see they're splintered into 2 groups. You've got that group of 4 up the front and the chase pack. It looks like they're making a bit of ground. They may end up forming as one group shortly.
It almost looks like they're going to get them. That's right. They certainly are closing down to the leaders. Craig Alexander leading Thompson. Then you've got Courtney Atkinson, Levi Maxwell. They've been joined. What's that? Leon Griffin has jumped out of the pack. There's the guy who was last out of the water, fell over, getting out of the swim, made his way up to the leaders. That's a great effort.
Well, I think that's the one that just proves how exciting this format is. You don't see that type of thing in the Olympic distance. These short formats, just anything can happen and things change quickly. Leon Griffin now is tagged onto that group of 4 to make it a group of 5 out in front.
Well, that young man from the central coast of New South Wales is really putting the cat amongst the pigeons, and it wouldn't surprise me if he attacks here, because he's certainly made up ground. The bike is his strength. He really is strong on the cycle, and quite a solid runner. The swim is weakness, no doubt about it, but he has got himself into a magnificent position. I hope he can take advantage of that.
You're watching the Nivea bike leg. We've just had a report through on our Vincent Johan, the Frenchman, who fell a little bit earlier in one of the nastiest crashes ever seen in triathlon. He is in not good shape, but it is not as bad as first feared. That blood that we feared was coming out of his ears. Apparently it was his ear lacerated by the helmet, so it wasn't internal bleeding. That's good news, but he does have a broken collarbone.
Pedal power for the Fab 4. There we go. Tomo in front. Crowe, Atkinson and the Alien. The 4, though, now has become 6 as they head up Macquarie Street again. Pedal power.
Soon to become 8 or 9, Steve. By the look of it, they've slowed up a little and the others have got on. So that's surprising. Craig Alexander, Courtney Atkinson, Simon Thompson and Levi Maxwell have been caught by the others. Leon Griffin led the charge, and I think he's pulled the others up.
Yeah, that is amazing. As you said, he was last out of the water, had that fall too. It could have hurt himself. It was a pretty nasty-looking fall out of the water and the swim, but he's got up to the front there. There he is. Leon Griffin leads them around that turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a group of 10 now, and almost the whole pack have just about formed. The 14 starters of this race will probably almost get together before they get onto the run.
They will indeed. I think Luke McKenzie's just off the back. Then behind him, you've got Nathan Campbell, and then a group of 3. I think it's Josh Ricks, Matty Hopper and David Dello just at the back. So they're almost all together. Bryce Quirk having a few deep breaths there. He's probably going, oh, thank goodness we've got up here.
You can see the athletes glistening with sweat. It is hot and humid. Very, very sticky day in Sydney today, and these guys, as you mentioned, Mark, are certainly feeling it.
Indeed. Now, there's our back 3. You can see Josh Ricks, Dave Dello, number 30, and Matt Hopper, number 15. Josh Ricks, 38.
As they come around into this dangerous left-hand turn that's already claimed one victim today, the Frenchman Vincent Johan. As they come under the steps of the Opera House, let's go down to Timbo.
Leon, leaping Leon Griffin goes past and puts the pedal power to the test. Drops off Crowe, a bit of a move made by leaping Leon.
Is indeed, and Craig Alexander looks like he's charged out to try to go with Leon Griffin. If he can get up there, it's probably the right thing to do, because young Leon really is strong on the bike and a solid runner to boot, so they won't want to let him get too far away. The others, the problem they've got is that Simon Thompson and Courtney Atkinson are marking each other, Steve, so they're not really worried about what's going on up here if those guys will not have any effect on the series, which they won't.
Well, as we know, 3 points the difference between Courtney Atkinson and Simon Thompson for the series, so it's a matter of working out the maths on that for them and the placings. I know for sure that if one of them comes first and the other is second, they will win the series. As for further back, well, that's up to the mathematicians to work out. We'll keep an eye on them. There's Richie Cunningham having a pretty good day today as well, slipping in behind the alien, getting the slipstream effect. Well, there's none of that for Leon Griffin, though. He's up front and doing it all by himself at the moment.
Yeah, no fear either. He's taking the corners pretty quick and really hammering as fast as he can. He's certainly not going backwards. He's really extending his gap to Craig Alexander in second, and back to the pack is even further. So Leon Griffin really put the cat amongst the pigeons here. Courtney Atkinson now will be totally focused on making sure he beats Simon Thompson. That's his aim for the day, to make sure he wins his third consecutive Accenture Series.
2 laps to go. There's the bike. Leon Griffin streaming around to that last turnaround. There he goes around the roundabout into that dangerous left-hand turn that we've seen. The roundabout has not taken any victims today. That's been pretty good work to get around that today. Let's have a look and just see who's in this group. There is Tim Makowicz, number 35, Simon Thompson, Courtney Atkinson. There's plenty in that group as well. Well, there's the pedals of none other than our leader, number 32, Leon Griffin.
Yeah, and behind him, the guys are certainly not making an impression. I think he's actually put Craig Alexander in a difficult position. He's sort of between a rock and a hard place. He hasn't been able to close the gap. The group behind are actually coming back to Craig Alexander, but Leon Griffin, he's the man of the moment. He's off the front. There's Richie Cunningham behind him, Bryce Quirk, Courtney Atkinson, Tim Makowicz in a good position, as is Levi Maxwell and Simon Thompson at the back of that group.
Well, the officials asked the riders when they went out on this second race for the second time after a couple of crashes, take it easy, boys, take it easy. We don't want any nasty injuries, but it doesn't look like they're taking it easy. They are flying around this course. Look at them go. Up in front, Leon Griffin. Look at them come around that roundabout. Courtney Atkinson is easy to pick up in the yellow leader's jersey. There he is. He's got plenty to prove after missing out on Olympic selection. He will want to prove to them that he should have been in that team with a good win today, but he's still got some work to do. Leon Griffin is out in front.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are don't get to this level without being super competitive and focused, and when you get into the race and the gun goes, the last thing you tend to worry about is your own self-preservation or crashing. You're just focused on going as fast and as hard as you can and getting in the right position to have your best possible race. The bell lap, Steve.
There we go. That is the bell lap, as you saw, shaking it away, and these athletes know that they've just got to finish this lap safely, and then there should be no danger on that 2.5 kilometre run leg home to decide the series and to decide the winner of this race. Simon Thompson and Courtney Atkinson are the two battling it out for the series win, and this guy, Leon Griffin, gee, he'd love to finish the series off with a win today, but he's got a fair quality of athlete behind him, making sure that he perhaps doesn't get the win today.
Well, some of the best in the world. In fact, not just fair quality. You've got the very elite of the sport, but isn't he doing a wonderful job? And this will be a thrill for this young man. Got a few supporters down here too, I might add, some friends and family. So, Leon, well done. And I might add just quietly a few fans amongst the volunteers down here too, Steve, so I'm led to believe.
Yeah, well, the Powerade tent were cheering him on loudly, so he's got plenty of supporters, Leon Griffin, and doing well at the moment. Pretty well his home race from the Central Coast, so not too far to come down from the Central Coast of New South Wales for the supporters of Leon Griffin. But as we've mentioned, some of the best athletes in the world are in that pack on your screen right now, chasing in our leader, Leon Griffin, as he comes down into the Opera House forecourt around that right-hand bend. He'll go under the tunnel and start to get set for transition for the final section of this race, which is the 2.5 kilometre run.
Well, he's still got a fairly solid lead over Craig Alexander. Behind them, you have Courtney Atkinson leading Simon Thompson. Haven't they shadowed each other this entire race? And then a group of 5 with them. But it's Leon Griffin who's going to dismount first. He'll get the leg over side saddle and bang, away he goes. Leon Griffin, Leaping Leon as Timmy Bailey calls him. I'm sure Timmy's down there. He'll give us all the action because he's right there in the thick of it.
Leon Griffin first into the transitional area. He's got a fairly good break. The shoes are on. The 2.5K New Balance run coming. Look at him. He's pumped up, this fella. Second out, Crowie with his bike. Puts it down. The shoes go on. Courtney Atkinson now into his New Balance. The blue and yellows. Crowie out. He's second. Courtney's third. And the alien fourth. Fifth is Tomo and Richie Cunningham sixth with Quirky seventh.
It's a 2.5 kilometre sprint. That's what lays ahead of these guys to decide the winner of this race and the winner of the series. There's your leader. It's number 32, Leon Griffin. I'd have to say a surprise leader. I don't think he's even had a top 10 finish yet.
No, not even close to top 10. This will be an incredible performance from Leon as we look at the run course. 2.5 Ks, very simple, straight back out the forecourt, under the tunnel, around the roundabout, back to transition. Have to do it 5 times, 500 metres each lap.
Well, it's not far 2.5 kilometres for these guys, but is it a big enough lead for him to hold off the likes of Simon Thompson, who's on your screen there with series leader Courtney Atkinson in the yellow leaders jersey, and plenty of talent in Craig Alexander. That group of 3 chasing down Leon Griffin. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back to Sydney, the thrilling closing stages of this men's race of the final round of the Accenture Triathlon Series. You're looking at Leon Griffin, a surprise leader in the final event. As we mentioned before the break, I don't believe he's had a top 10 finish this year.
No, he hasn't. In fact, he hasn't really had a top finish in any, elite race per se. But today he's going to change all that in a huge way. And this can really accelerate a young man's career. Mentally, if you believe and know that you can match it with the top guys, you can then perform at that level and expect to perform at that level, and that can make such a difference. So he's going to finish somewhere in the top 5 or 6 today, no doubt about it. I don't think he'll hold these guys off. They're running too quickly. Craig Alexander, Courtney Atkinson and Simon Thompson. And now the series is right there between Simon Thompson and Craig Alexander, shadowing each other all day, virtually in the swim, bike, and now onto the run. So it's getting very, very exciting for the whole series here. Leon Griffin is gradually being clawed back by Craig Alexander, Simon Thompson and Courtney Atkinson.
You got to feel for Leon. He's losing ground. They're coming at him. His arms are hurting. He's sucking them in. Here comes Crowe, Tomo and Atkinson on the shoulder. What a finish. We are in for it here. The crowd loving it.
Oh, aren't we in for a great finish? And what about the pedigree of those 3 chasing down Leon Griffin? He will know that these guys are some of the best triathletes in the world, and there is the gap. It is ever diminishing. It will probably be a race I would expect between those 3. Craig Alexander, Simon Thompson, who's off to the Olympics in Athens, and the series defending champion and the series leader, Courtney Atkinson, reeling in Leon Griffin, who's done such a tremendous job, and now they have caught him. Craig Alexander just going past Leon now. He's not putting up a fight, letting them go. Simon Thompson now works his way past. So too Courtney Atkinson. So Griffin now drops back into 4th place, and I don't think he'll have another surge left in him now. Can Craig Alexander hold off these 2? Fighting it out for the series is Courtney Atkinson and Simon Thompson. You wouldn't expect that they would be able to, but there are so many things to still unfold, and yet only just over a kilometre to go.
Well, it's getting real tight now, and Leon doing a great job just to hang on the back of him. Well done to that young man. Everyone gets their 5 minutes of fame. He's certainly got more than that today, Steve, so well done to Leon Griffin. I hope we see more of him because he's a real excitement machine out there. But the race is in 3 now. You can expect these 3 to take off. The bell lap, 500 metres to go. Alexander, Thompson and Atkinson, who's got the sprint? Because I'm sure it's going to come down to a sprint. We've seen Thompson sprint in the Olympic distance races over the 10 kilometres. Has he got the turn of speed? Or will Alexander or maybe Courtney actually get up for the win? Well, remember, whoever wins out of Courtney and Tomo takes the series.
Well, I must admit, thinking back just a little while back, I thought Courtney might have had a surge and a break by now. So the fact that Simon Thompson is still there with them, that makes it interesting because we know that Simon can surge. Craig Alexander is now just dropped off, starting to struggle a little bit. So it's probably going to be a sprint finish of those 2. The yellow leaders jersey, Courtney Atkinson, Simon Thompson. This is for the series 1 and 2. Whoever wins out of those 2 will be the series winner.
Well, I think Tomo needed to go earlier than this. I think Courtney's got a real turn of speed when it comes down to it. We're down to 250 metres to go. Away he goes. Atkinson, as we speak, charges off. The sprint's on. Can Thompson match him? No, he can't. Not when you look over your shoulder like that, Tomo. You know you're gone. Atkinson is going to take the series again. What a performance after the disappointment of Perth and Coffs Harbour. He's done it, Steve.
Well, this will be a sweet finish for him. Let's bring him home. Courtney Atkinson in the series yellow jumper. There he is around the roundabout. Gets set for the finishing chute. Quick look over the shoulder. Simon Thompson's there. He knows he's pretty quality, but will he catch him? Doesn't think so. There he goes. Courtney Atkinson towards the finishing chute. Disappointment for him missing out on the team to Athens. Sweet revenge, though, to cross the line first in the last race of the season. Simon Thompson in 2nd. Craig Alexander in 3rd. And loving it in 4th place. How about that? Leon Griffin. He is just wrapped with his finish.
Tactically, that sprint finish. Terrific racing.
Yeah, look, the last few races haven't been able to finish, and you know, today I just finished. Simple as that. And yeah, it's a disappointing year, really. I mean, my dream was to get to the Olympics this year, but it wasn't to so. But I suppose taking out the third year in a row of this title is no easy feat, and I'll enjoy it. I've just got to change my racing. I mean, my strength's running, and you know, unfortunately or fortunately, triathlons swim, bike and run, and I can swim well, so sometimes it actually stuffs my race plans up. And yeah, I went really hard on the start of that swim today to try and, you know, really dominate. And you know, to all the guys, they were just awesome. They stuck, and you know, I had to change my plan and sit and come off.
I think on a count back, not only have you finished third today, but on a count back, you've got third in the series, coming off a long course victory last weekend. You're in awesome shape.
Mate, yeah, the last 2 years have just been incredible, you know. I couldn't be happier, and the race today was exciting, you know. I tried to give myself a chance on the bike, but you got to take your hat off to Tomo and Courtney. They know how to play the game, and they did it very well today.
Painful short course racing at its best, but I could see the grimace on your face, mate. The sprint was enormous, wasn't it?
It was all I had left. Full credit to Courtney. He went out there and he had a really smart race plan. He knew I had to win the race to have a chance at the series. And I went out there and gave it everything I got for the last 2.5K. And I just didn't have the legs at the end. I just gave it all I had, and he's just too quick in those last couple hundred metres.
What a season for you, Tomo. Into the Olympic team, performing consistently, whether it be over the Olympic distance or the sprint distance. You're in some sort of shape.
Absolutely. I just couldn't ask for more. It's a dream come true. I've been working hard for 5 years for this, and just to get this consistency is just fantastic. I really enjoy life at the moment. It's really good fun.
And I know that we have really enjoyed watching Simon Thompson. He has just exploded onto the scene this year. That 5 years of hard work he's talked about finally paying off this year for him. Just outstanding. Confirming the final results, Simon Thompson in second place. Courtney Atkinson taking the series out with the win today. And a good result for Craig Alexander to finish on the podium. And what about Leon Griffin? A good fourth.
A magnificent fourth, in fact. Atkinson takes the series over Thompson. Alexander beating Quirk in a count back, Steve, with Robertson in fifth.